Happy Thursday. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'll do quick intros. I've met, I think, most of you, but not all of you. So we're Channel Key, an agency that I'm in Las Vegas. Actually, Brian, Kristen, and I are all in Las Vegas, but we're a remote agency. There's about 55 of us. We're in, we've got employees in 22 states. We've got 17 employees in the Philippines, one in India. We're about to have one in the UK. And we're really an Amazon or e-commerce enablement agency. We've been at this officially since January of 2017. But we spun out of a sister organization I co-founded about 14 years ago called Trend Nation, which is a product business that sells products on Amazon. And so in essence, we built a very large, best-in-class Amazon business for ourselves via private label brands, and felt like we could create a service-based offering or an agency that helped other brands execute on Amazon. And so we did that and officially, formalized that business in 2017. So I'm Dan, co-founder, CEO. We've got Kristen Whiteley on the line, who's our head of corporate marketing. And then we've got Brian Martinez, who is our head of service. And we've been, Peter, we've been members of TAN for a while now. I don't know the exact number of years. I think the first meeting I was in was in Jamaica. So we're happy to be presenting. It's good to see you all, and it'll be good to see you all in Toronto here in a few weeks. We want this to be super informal, guys. If you got questions, please chime in. We're excited about this topic. We're here to have good conversation and dialogue and educate if we can, and figure out if there's any opportunities for anybody. So we are going to talk about Amazon's DSP program. And the title here, as you all can see, is how all programmatic advertisers can leverage the power of Amazon's customer data through DSP. So next slide, Brian. So there's some interesting things that, quite honestly, we're learning about this world of retail media. Historically, for us, we've been about selling products on the platform. So we're doing things on we're managing Amazon stores for brands. Okay. So we're doing their SEO on Amazon. We're building their titles. We're building their bullet points. We're building their storefronts. We're building their A+ content pages. So SEO, in essence, on Amazon. We've been running their advertising on the Amazon platform. Okay. So Amazon has its entirely own ecosystem that they've built around advertising, and it's an exploding business. I think today it's a $30 billion business, and I believe it's going to continue to grow very rapidly with what we're seeing. And I think for you all to understand why that is, and the power of Amazon, you've got to consider what's called the Amazon flywheel. And we don't have an image for this, but you can Google Amazon flywheel, and it tells you the whole story. And it's basically the essence of Amazon and how each input into Amazon makes this flywheel spin faster. And I think Amazon's programmatic and DSP program is feeding that flywheel and is getting stronger and healthier because of the flywheel. So basically they have assortment, so you can buy a lot of products on Amazon. So there's a large selection. They have a large user base. So there's hundreds of millions of Prime members that are buying product on the platform. They've got their infrastructure for fulfillment. They've got their advertising business that is generating more traffic to Amazon. And now they're buying properties, right? They're buying different properties to leverage for use of advertisers to generate more traffic. Okay. And so this flywheel is super, super exciting, and DSP is a part of that flywheel. And what we're learning and realizing is that really the power of Amazon, and specifically their DSP program, is their data. Okay. And the access to their data. And you guys for years have been talking about Apple and the privacy issues. lack of first-party data. And what we're seeing and realizing is that Amazon's walled garden of data allows you to kind of get around that. And so DSP and their programmatic offering allows you to leverage Amazon's actual customer data to target those audiences and consumers. Okay, so a couple stats here that are super relevant, and then I'm gonna stop talking, give it over to Brian. So Amazon, in essence, is a giant search engine. Okay, and the most recent stat we've seen is 61% of all product searches begin on Amazon.com.
I'm not,
okay?
I'm not gonna
It's
see
enormous.
it later tonight.
We got somebody.
We're going to finish it. Don't worry about it.
Second stat, most trafficked US e-commerce website. It's 2 billion visitors a month. And again, it's immune to Apple's privacy policy because they own the data. It's all first-party data for Amazon. So DSP allows us to leverage all of that data. And what's super interesting about it is that now, given DSP and given the properties that Amazon owns, you can run ads if you're an endemic advertiser, meaning you sell a physical product on Amazon, or you're a non-endemic business that actually doesn't sell a physical product on Amazon. So you can leverage their retail data as a non-endemic brand to target those audiences. So it's super interesting, super compelling. We thought it very relevant to this group, and we want to present it. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Brian Martinez, who's going to get deeper into this and knows more about this than I do. So again, if you have any questions, just let us know, interrupt us. We're happy to have a dialogue here. So Brian, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Dan. And thank everybody for joining. As Dan kind of mentioned, feel free to jump in at any point with any questions that you have as we kind of go into the meat and potatoes of DSP and some of how it works. So as Dan mentioned, Amazon DSP serves both endemic and non-endemic advertisers. So whether you're selling your products or services directly on Amazon or off of Amazon, you can leverage DSP. Now there is one caveat with that. When you are a non-endemic brand, you are doing what's called a link out campaign. And Amazon has the ability to deny a link out campaign. Now, with that said, we know that there are brands who are selling physical products on Amazon who are using link out campaigns to drive traffic directly to their D2C site. So Amazon does allow for some of that in situations, but it is at their discretion. So that's just one thing to be aware of, and something that we're working currently with our contacts at Amazon to figure out a process to kind of streamline that approval process and know where that does and doesn't exist. But with that said, Amazon DSP is programmatic advertising. So if you're advertising on Trade Desk, Google 360, any of those traditional DSP outlets, it's very similar in tactics. The big difference is the availability of where you can serve your ads. And the big key, as Dan mentioned, is being able to leverage the Amazon owned and operated placements, but also their retail data and their consumer data with that. So, you know, we know Amazon is the leading place to go for product searches. So it allows you to meet the shopper where they are. It allows you to target consumers who are doing 61% of those product searches, in retargeting, in other ways that, you know, using the data that Amazon's giving you. And one of the biggest things is that Amazon is very heavy on metrics. And we're going to kind of dive into each of these points a little bit more in detail, specifically with kind of what programmatic ads are available, what type of placements are available, and then also what type of data points are available. So looking at the DSP ad types, it's 3 primary ad types. So you can run video ads, you can run display ads, and you can run audio ads. So the kind of most common one that we see, at least out the gate, is display ads. But audio ads and video ads, which are utilized through primarily called OTT, over the top advertising, allow you access to Alexa devices, to streaming TV through Prime Video and other areas of Amazon sites, and also third-party and open exchanges. So some of these placements are Amazon.com. So that's one of the primary drivers we see for conversions. So when consumers are actively on the site and getting them back, but also you have access to subsidiaries. So Amazon owns, multiple websites outside of Amazon.com. One famous one, IMDb.com. So as consumers interact on Amazon or they have similar behaviors, whatever your kind of targeting options are, you can utilize that. Amazon Publisher Services gives you access to some of the more video and audio type ads, as well as third-party exchanges. You've got desktop display, mobile apps, and video pre-roll. So quite a few different placements. As you can see here, you can get placement not only on desktop sites, but mobile apps, as well as Kindle devices and other Amazon devices. So just some of the placements to kind of further highlight it. There's additional targeting and opportunities to go after people who have Alexa devices, as mentioned, who have Kindle devices, who have business accounts, who are Prime students, who are looking for Prime Now. Twitch is something that Amazon has been building out, as well as their Prime Video. One of the biggest ones that has been recently added to their suite, really for more advanced, you would say, advertisers, is the ability to advertise on Thursday Night Football. So that is an ad option now that has become available with their current rights to streaming Thursday Night Football games.
Yeah, on that really quick, Brian. So they acquired those rights. They acquired the rights for Thursday night NFL football. The first game I think is actually tonight. They bought it for $1 billion. So in essence, what Brian's saying is we can leverage Amazon DSP programmatic and place ads within that property. So if you're an NFL fan, watch tonight and you'll see what we're talking about.
Great addition there, Dan. So yeah, and Amazon also has access to traditional third-party exchanges. So it's not just the Amazon owned and operated sites that you have access to. I mean, that's really a lot of the uniqueness of Amazon DSP, because if you're not running your ads through Amazon DSP, you're not getting access to these placements. So you can still leverage those others, but really it's about these kind of owned and operated sites that they have. So there are 6 primary ways that you can target consumers through DSP. You can target through behavioral, lifestyle, contextual, advertiser audiences, audience lookalikes. So, you have an audience, you want to find lookalike consumers, and retargeting. So one of the commons that we see out the gate is starting off with retargeting and kind of building that out, but also then contextual. If you're using existing data and you're comfortable sharing it, things like email addresses, well, then Amazon can identify that consumer's buying behavior for your website, right? So let's say you have an email list of your customers, you plug it in, Amazon can create a lookalike list based off of that data and based off of the shopping habits, and find other consumers who have very similar shopping habits, where then they have a high likelihood of buying your product. So there are different ways that you can leverage data off of Amazon by bringing it into them and using these lookalike audiences, but also you can leverage it using Amazon's retail data through lifestyle, through behavioral, through retargeting, through categories. There's really a lot of possibilities. One of the additional things that comes with Amazon DSP is the granularity of how you can refine your targeting. So you can, as I mentioned on the previous slide, if you want to focus only on consumers who have an Amazon business account, DSP allows you to do that. You can also geographically target consumers based on different areas. So if you're selling a product that's really designed around like high urban areas, well, then that can be something that you layer in and really kind of refine that targeting. So you're not casting that very wide net, you're getting granular, you're getting targeted, and you're making sure that you're as efficient as possible. Okay, so one additional thing that has been rolled out that you get access to, you have to apply for it, but the criteria is you're running a DSP campaign, is the Amazon Marketing Cloud. So the Amazon Marketing Cloud is an API that Amazon provides, and it gives you basically anonymized data. And this data you can leverage and you can use to measure your advertising performance against Amazon's retail data. So essentially, especially if you're an endemic brand, this becomes even more powerful because then you can also layer in what you're doing through your AMS advertising or PPC advertising and see the full picture through Amazon Marketing Cloud. In addition, you get access to different data points that help you better refine your targeting. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to switch over to a different screen. So, all righty. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes.
So this is, we use a software called PathView here at Channel Key to help us manage our ad campaigns. And one of the things is they help with creating kind of dashboards using the AMC data. So this is a dashboard showing an advertiser's overall performance during a period. And it's leveraging their advertising data through AMS and their DSP data, as well as organic sales data that Amazon has on the back end, which we're calling retail sales data. So what we can see here is how consumers are moving down the funnel, right? And with this advertiser, they're heavily focused around brand loyalty. They're a high repeat purchase consumable item. So it's very important that they focus in this area. And then, we can see how we're moving consideration down into conversion and awareness down into consideration. So this gives you a pretty quick view of how consumers are moving through the funnel. One other thing that it tells you is ad type overlap. So this is another piece of data that we can now see. So we can see when a consumer interacts with a DSP with only a DSP ad, and what our conversion rate is. We can see then when they look at a sponsored product or PPC ad, that our conversion rate is a 0.09. So it's significantly lower from the 0.41. But then when we look at a consumer who interacts with both of our ads, then it's 5.03%. So going back to the rule of 8, the more that they interact with you, the more likely they are to convert. Adding in these additional levers that can retarget both on Amazon and off Amazon is having a significant increase for this brand's conversion rate. Another piece of data that we can look at through AMC is we can start looking at demographic data. So we can look at consumers by state, by region. So now we can start targeting and we can look at this and sort it by different kind of data points. All of this is available through AMC. Now you would have to crunch the data yourself if you go through the API, or if you work with a provider like we work with PathView, then they will create these kind of dashboards. So in addition, we can see gender, we can see age, we can see household income, we can see relationships, so couples versus singles. We can see the device that the consumer is interacting with. So much heavier in mobile, not surprising this day and age. As well as we can look at personas. So within personas, we can now start understanding other segments that we may want to go after. So we can see if we're focused on driving views, well, then we can look at views. And we can go based off interest, in market, and lifestyle. And then we can also view it based on purchasers. So now you can start looking at who's actually driving the purchase. You can look at and sort based on all of these different data points. Again, there's much more data that can be done, or much more analysis that can be done with this data outside of just these dashboards. And then one of the most interesting ones that we've seen has been the period analysis. So this allows us to see what are those ideal periods for us to be hitting people in the consideration area of the funnel, right? So this is telling us how long it's taking for them to actually purchase once they've seen it, and then the repurchased period. So when do we need to be focusing on a loyalty campaign, making sure that they're coming back and buying again from us?
So I want to make one call out here, just and kind of frame this out for the group. The Amazon world for us is our world. We've been in this for so many years, okay? And historically, Amazon's been very tight with their data and exposing any data, and they still are very tight. But historically, for us to advertise for our clients, it's been through what Brian is referencing. It's AMS, right? So it's in Amazon's ecosystem. You're doing PPC ads, you're doing kind of more bottom funnel stuff, and you get like they give you no data. Okay, it's very sparse. And so really what we're finding with Amazon is they're starting to expose more and more of their consumer data. And it's very exciting for us, and it's opening up a lot of different possibilities. So I just want to quantify that for you all. Like, this is pretty new stuff. And Amazon's been aggregating this data for years. And again, the flywheel is spinning so fast. And so they're getting more and more data as consumers continue to buy on the platform. And we now get to leverage that data and truly understand the customer journey through things like Amazon Marketing Cloud. Okay, so it's pretty new stuff, really exciting stuff for us. And I, so it's just a different framing. So go ahead, Brian.
No problem. Thanks, Dan. So there we go. So the KPIs available, I mean, there's a multitude of data points. We're going to cover that on the next slide here, but the KPIs really kind of vary based on where you're going. And if you're familiar with programmatic advertising, full funnel advertising, these aren't really a surprise or a shocker. But when we're going through awareness, we're trying to build up brand awareness, quantifying the brand lift that we're doing. So generally reach and frequency, what are our impressions, detail page views, rates, branded searches becomes very important. We can see our new to brand rate. This is for endemic, so anything asterisk is for endemic brands. Brand metrics, so brand lift, we can do Nielsen, Kantar studies based on this. And then moving into consideration, we're looking at purchase rate, ROAS, subscribe and save, brand halo purchases, promoted purchases, and then we have additional sales lift studies. Some of these are paid, so just want to note that. And then conversion, detail page views, clicks, click-through rate, add to cart, better together analysis, which kind of was that overlap report. So it tells you how you're interacting as you're kind of adding additional ad levers onto it, and then additional brand metrics. Did we have, okay. So really, I think this is the juiciest part of it, especially if you like the analytics. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is being able to dive into the data, understand what's going on, figure out what the correlations are and what the story is, and how really we need to either continue doing what we're doing, go after new things, find new opportunities, testing theories. So Amazon DSP, aside from your reach, aside from being able to access all of these consumers, has a very robust amount of data. So there are over 470 different data points that are available through DSP, and that's just at the order level, that you can make decisions off of. Now, to be fair, not all 470 will be eligible for every piece of DSP. If you're running a display ad, you're not going to get video purchase, video view through rates, right? Because we're not running videos, we're running display. So some of that will come and go, but the data is very robust and it allows you to look at things in different ways, as well as then adding in the AMC on top of that. All right, and I believe that is it for me, and I will hand it off to Dan.
So yeah, that's really it, guys. You know, in conclusion, what we've said is the development of this program and Amazon is super exciting. Amazon's reach is ridiculous and getting larger. They're going after Shopify. They're allowing advertisers to go off Amazon and convert in other places, which they've never done in the past. And we're really excited about it. So Channel Key is developing into more of a retail media type organization, which is new for us, right? You guys have been doing programmatic for years. And for us, this is relatively new, but we're looking through it through the Amazon lens, which is unique, and it's complex and it's convoluted, and it's very much relevant to their retail business, which we know everything about. So for us, we're simplifying this for our clients, and really want to drive volume. We want to drive volume through the platform. We want to support non-endemics, and we want to support, you know, other TAN agencies. So again, we felt this was super relevant to the group and wanted to share it with you all. We've spoken to, you know, Andrew about this. We've spoken to Neil at Watauga, and we wanted to expose this to the rest of the group here and see if there was any questions about it, or see if there's any way that we could help anybody out. So
Hey, I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan. Hey, thanks for and Brian for the presentation. I think it's awesome. Huge growth opportunity. So we work with a lot of consumer packaged goods brands. Some of them are smaller, some of them are a little bit larger. Amazon for them is always a channel strategy that can sometimes get lost in the shuffle or whatever, because they just don't understand how to really leverage it or the power behind it. But
Yeah.
What's the right fit in terms of how much should they be spending in media per month? If they used a service like you, if we said, hey guys, you should talk to Channel Key to really help do this, like what does that look like, so we know how to provide you guys with referrals? Yeah.
And it's a good question, Braden. And you know, I've got a ton of follow-up questions for you, right? So consumer packaged goods, are they selling? Is it a B2B business? Who is their customer?
It's B2C. So let's say they're selling tuna, canned tuna, or they're selling snack foods or things like that.
Gotcha. And are they currently selling on Amazon? These groups selling on Amazon, and it's just not a channel they're pursuing?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Depending upon how big they are and what their scale is, and we don't have an exact ratio to say, hey, if you're doing X amount of volume on your D2C site, or your business is X size, like it's hard for us to quantify the opportunity on Amazon unless we can look at the data, right? Unless we know who the brand is, we know how much search volume they have, we know how much volume is going through their specific product category. So we can quantify all that, but we need a little bit more information. So it's hard for me to broad stroke it and say they should be doing X, Y, or Z. What we do know is the traffic is there, the volume is there, the media opportunities are there, and it just comes down to a matter of what they want. Like, what do they want their business to be? There's pros and cons of selling through Amazon. One is the traffic. There's lower barriers to entry, but they don't always give you the customer data, right? And it's a less loyal transaction. So it comes down to what they want. And for us, like, to evaluate these opportunities, we do it with eyes wide open, and we rely on the data, and we see it all the time. We see so many different types of opportunities, and sometimes we say, yeah, this is interesting, this makes sense for you guys, or it isn't, or it could be, but you guys are going to bleed money for a period of time because it's really costly to do business on the platform. So that's, Brayden, I know I didn't directly answer your question, and the reason I did is because I can't. It's really hard to quantify unless we know a little bit more specific data around the opportunity.
Man,
And
you must be
Brian-
an agency owner here, Dan. I love it. Yeah. But it
Yeah,
sounds
what do you
like
got,
if,
Brian?
if we do have opportunities, maybe is the first contact yourself or Brian, or like, is it what's the first step then? Just
Yeah.
if we were just having a chat, owner.
Yeah, if you want to go owner to owner, that's cool. You can reach out to me, and I can loop in our team, and if you tell us who the brand is, we can produce a report for you guys and say, hey, like, here's what the opportunity is. Here's again, branded search, right? How much branded search do they have on Amazon? How much are who are their competitors? Are they competitively priced? How much volume are their competitors doing? Right? And then how big's the category? And what is their price point versus, we do a margin breakdown for them, right? Because sometimes it's very expensive to sell on Amazon. And for CPG, it can be really tight. Okay. But there's strategies to make those types of businesses more profitable. So yeah, send us an email, Brayden. We'll look at it and we'll say, hey, this is interesting or it's not. And we'll give you the data to support it and help you out.
Cool. Awesome.
Brian,
Yeah, I want to kind of go back to your original question, Brayden. To Dan's point, the way that I think about it from the strategy side and the services side, and like, because me and my team are the ones who are putting together these plans and how we're gonna make these brands successful, right? So when I think about it, and I look at a business and I think about what it's gonna take, one of the biggest things is where are you placed within the market, right? So when you look at Amazon, I like to say Amazon is a digital grocery store, right? So when you go on a grocery store, you're going down an aisle or you interact with an end cap, right? So an end cap can be looked at as maybe like a deal, a placement that goes outside of search, where search is you're in the aisle. So when a consumer is searching, you have to look at that as kind of its own environment. You have the category as a whole, yes, and that tells you generally how the category is trending as a whole, but it doesn't matter at the category level as much as it matters at the keyword level that the consumer is using to actually generate conversions. So what we do is we identify what those keywords are. And this is part of kind of that audit that Dan was mentioning. We identify kind of initially what those keywords are, what the opportunities are, what the price points are, what the volume is. But then once we kind of start talking about ads, we start looking at what CPCs are with the tools that we have. And we do that in our initial audits as well. But we kind of take all of that into account and we say, okay, well, here are all the CPCs. Here's all the search volume. Here's all the competitors. Let's go after these terms. Here's what we think it's going to cost. And then we go out and we validate those theories. And then that kind of helps us inform it. So if a brand has been selling on Amazon, it makes it a lot quicker for us because we can take that data that they already have, we can analyze it, we can say, okay, these are the keywords that were working, these are the keywords that were not working. Here's how your coverage was within those keywords. Here's what we do differently within that spend. Here's your opportunities. Here's what we think we need to do. So that's kind of just logically how we think about it, because to Dan's point, it's a loaded question, but logically, that's kind of how we approach it.
Cool.
I have a quick question. This is Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Do they have APIs that are very friendly? Or do you have to just only log on to their system?
So they do have APIs. They have a selling partner API. The advertising API is fairly straightforward. But the seller APIs are a little bit tougher. We have our own technology that we're working on in-house, and we've elected to, use data providers rather than try and maintain APIs and all of that. So, and that's just because the trickiness of it. But the advertising APIs are pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Not a problem.
I got a couple of questions for you guys. Jean-Marc here. Thank you for sharing that presentation, Dan and team.
Hey, Jean-Marc.
One quick question. I think it relates to to Doug's one. Can you access Amazon data on any other DSP?
No. The only way to access their placements and the first party data, which is kind of their audiences, their segments that they pre-create for you, that you can leverage, is through Amazon DSP.
Okay, so it's kind of proprietary, so you need to
Yes.
use the Amazon DSP to use that, to resort to that data. So you can't add it as a data layer on your actual existing DSP, which is kind of tricky. The other question stems from that one. And you alluded to the fact that you can use Amazon DSP to serve, to bid on impressions on other exchanges, other sites than the Amazon ones. Can you do it on the whole internet? Can you like use Amazon data using Amazon DSP to bid on impressions on CNN, on whichever sites?
Yep. Now I'd have to circle back with exactly all of the exchanges that they have access to. But I know, one of news sites have been historically, interestingly enough, one of the placements that's been the highest that we've seen outside of Amazon O&O have been news sites. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is exciting. We could definitely use the Amazon DSP. My main objective would not necessarily be to serve ads on the Amazon sites per se, which are huge, but still only a part of the internet. I'd like to target everybody everywhere where they're going on their customer journey. So this is where things get really exciting, when you can like target people all over the world. So yeah, if you have any information on the exchanges that they are actually connecting to, that'd be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, John Mark, we can follow up with that and we can chat in Toronto. And then to your first question, and I don't think we didn't mention this, but we have our own DSP seat with Amazon, right? And so that allows us the access, the ability to advertise and leverage that particular program. And that's how you get access. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I think you thoroughly overwhelmed everybody. This is good. I like that.
This is actually the first time we've given a presentation off this deck. So Tan's kind of our guinea pig. So hopefully it went well. It is a lot of data.